All right, here are today's notes. Let's go ahead and glue them in to your journal. You can fold them in half if you need to. Actually, no, I'm going to print them off on a half sheet. Just kidding. Go ahead and glue in your notes. I printed mine in color. I know yours are in black and white, but I thought this would help you see while I explain it today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is fixed versus variable expenses. So if something's fixed, that means it can't move. If you might hear the phrase like it's fixed to the floor, that means it's attached, it doesn't move. So a fixed expense is an expense that's going to be the same amount every single month. A variable expense, a variable is something that changes. So let's write little notes out to the side. Stays the same is fixed. And then a variable changes from month to month. So let's look at each one of these. Snacks. The amount of money I spend in snacks every week or every month is going to be variable, right? I don't have a set snack budget. Sometimes I want to go to QT and get a Slurpee and some chips, and sometimes I don't. So this is going to be a variable expense. It's going to be different from week to week or from month to month. Okay, rent or mortgage. Typically, if you have a rent or a mortgage, you're going to be paying the same amount every single month. Now, that might change periodically, but you're going to be notified ahead of time. It's probably something you're going to come to an agreement with your landlord or with your mortgage company. So for the most part, rent and mortgage is a fixed expense. I know exactly how much money my mortgage company is going to take out of my bank account at the first of every month. Or I know exactly how much I owe to my landlord for rent every single month. Okay? Auto insurance is the same thing. I know exactly how much I'm paying for that. To select auto insurance, I go through, I select an insurance provider. They give me a quote for how much it's going to cost per month. I can go to several different insurance companies and compare prices and pick the one that I think has the best coverage for me, that's at a price that I want. So I agree to that price before I even sign up for that service. So that's going to be a fixed amount every month. Now it could change. If you get in a car wreck, yes, your insurance could go up. Or at the end of the year, your plan premiums might go up. But for the most part, I know exactly how much Geico or Allstate or whoever it is going to take out of my bank account for insurance. Now let's think about groceries. Your family may have a grocery budget, but prices change at the grocery store. So there might be a week that I find bread on sale. There might be a week that toilet paper is more expensive than it was the week before. There might be a week that the price of beef goes down and I'm able to get beef to make hamburgers for my family at a better price. So groceries are a variable expense. Even if you have a budget that you try to stick to, you're still going to need different amounts of groceries every month, and prices will vary from month to month. Clothing. I don't know how your family does it, but I know in my family, we all kind of go clothes shopping probably twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, usually when seasons change. So this time of year, my family's going shopping a lot because we need jeans, we need jackets, we need hoodies, we need winter clothes because we've outgrown them from the year before. Same thing in the summer. When summer comes, we're going to go be buying swimsuits and shorts and sandals and new winter or new summer clothes. So I don't have a set clothing budget every month. Again, that's going to be variable. And then utilities. Here's some examples of utilities. Write this out to the side. It can be water bill, electric bill, phone bill, gas, if you have gas in your home. Some of you might have like a gas stove or a gas water heater. It could also include trash. Sometimes trash is grouped in with your water bill if you have city services. Other times, apartment complexes, things like that may charge different for trash service. So these are your general services that are provided to your house. And these are going to vary as well. There might be months that you use more water than others. This summer our water bill was really high because we were trying to water all the plants in our yard. Electricity, our electric bill goes up a lot in the winter because we have our Christmas lights on our house, or because we're using the heater a lot. Or in the summer you might have it go up because the air conditioner's on more. Your phone bill is probably going to stay about the same depending on your plan and how much you pay for that service. Gas bill is dependent on usage as well. Trash bill is going to be pretty constant, but sometimes that varies. But when I group all of these together, those are variable expenses. I can predict a range that they're going to be in, but I still don't know exactly how much those services are going to cost until I get that bill at the end of the month. Okay? So the basic gist is fixed expenses stay the same every month. I can plan for those. I know exactly how much it's going to be. Variable expenses are going to change a little bit. Shouldn't change too much, but they're going to change a little bit. Okay, so let's look at calculating a budget for our family. So we're going to use the circle graph to complete the table for the Baker family's monthly budget. And their net monthly income is $4,000. So after all of their deductions are taken, all of their withholdings, they have $4,000 left. Okay? So net monthly income, we know that that amount, it already says right here. That's $4,000. That's 100% of our income, right? Is that fixed? I would assume. You could have a variable monthly income if you work an hourly rate job and sometimes get overtime. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty predictable. Okay, so that's my total income. Now, it's wanting to know housing costs. So I'm going to look over here. And here's my housing cost right here. I don't see a percent on that, so I'm going to have to go back to that. We don't know how much our housing cost is yet. Food, I know, is 15% of my budget. I can calculate 15% by taking my net monthly income, multiplying it by 15, and dividing by 100. So let's do that now. Times 15. And then I'm going to divide that by 100. So I'm going to spend about $600 a month on food. Is that fixed or variable? It's the same as groceries, right? So we already said that that is variable. So I'm going to put a check mark over here. And now that I have a dollar amount for food, I'm going to add that right here. All right. In my savings account, let's see, it says there's $320, right? Now remember, if it gives us the dollar amount, we can do the part divided by the whole. So the part of the income is 320, and I'm going to divide that by my total income, which is 4,000. That gives me 0.08. Now I'm going to times that by 100, and that gives me the percent. 8% is how much I put into my savings account every month. That could vary, or it could stay the same. It really just depends on how you do it. I would say for the most part that's going to be variable because other expenses could come up, right? If you have an emergency car repair, or if you're able to save some money in a certain month, you might put more or less money into your savings account. Over the holidays, you might not put as much because you're spending it on Christmas presents. So there might be different times of year you can save more or less. Okay? Entertainment is $160. Again, I need to find the percent. So I'm going to take this part right here, divide it by the whole, my whole income, and then I'm going to multiply that by 100. And that gives me 4%. So I'm going to label that up here. Entertainment, where did it go? Right here. So I know that's 4%. Okay, my savings account, I can also label that 8% because I already have that there. Okay, so now I can look at my housing costs, right? But it looks like not all of these are in the same format, right? I see 15%, 8%, 4%, 8%. This one doesn't give me a percent, so I need to calculate percent, right? So let's do the part, which is 600, divided by the whole, which is our whole monthly income. That gives us 0.15. I'm going to multiply that by 100. And I know that this is 15%. Okay. Now on this one, I need to calculate percent also, right? I need to get to 100% to figure out what's left, right? We did an assignment similar to that yesterday. So here I'm going to take my part again, 400, divided by the whole amount, which is 4,000. That gives me 0.1. I'm going to multiply that by 100 to get the percent. So this is 10%. This is 5%. So now I'm going to add up all my percents and see what's left. What percent is left over for housing? And then I can calculate a number. So let's total that up. I'm going to start up here and work around counterclockwise. So I have 5 plus 10 plus 15 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8 again plus 15. Don't forget that one right there on food. And that gives me 65%. But I need to get to 100%. So I need to find the difference. So 100 minus 65, let's do that. Means that my housing is 35% of my budget. Okay, so let's fill that percent in right here. So let's figure out our dollar amount. Our annual or our monthly income is 4,000. I'm going to multiply that by 35 and then divide by 100. And that gives me the amount. So my housing cost is $1,400 a month. And like we said up here, your rent or mortgage, that's housing, is going to be fixed. We forgot to check this one down here. Entertainment is going to be variable. You're not going to spend the same money on going bowling or going to the movies or going to a concert or whatever you do for entertainment. You're not going to spend the same amount on that every month. That will be a variable expense. Okay? So let's answer these questions right here. What percent of the Moore's income goes to taxes? Well, good thing we already calculated all of this. So let's see. I don't see taxes on here. We have emergency fund, transportation, medical insurance and additional expenses, clothing, entertainment, savings, food. Okay? Oh, let's look right here. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong chart. So right here, what percentage of the Moore's income goes to taxes? So $850 goes to taxes, right? This is assuming that their income is $5,000. So I can find 8% or 8, I'm sorry, I can find the percent of 5,000 by doing part divided by whole again, right? So 850 divided by, here's the whole, 5,000. That gives me 0.17. I'm going to multiply that by 100. And that gives me 17%. Sorry to confuse you there. You can draw a little line here. Should have done that. This was the Baker family. Now we're talking about the Moore family. Their pie chart's a little bit more involved. A few more little spaces there. How much does the Moore family spend each year on insurance? Well, it looks right here that insurance is 12% of their income. So if their income is $5,000, I'm going to put that in my calculator first. Multiply it by that 12%, and then divide by 100. So $600. But this says each year. Okay. What's the title of our graph? More Families Monthly Budget. So if I spend $600 a month, 12% of my income a month goes to insurance, then I need to take that $600 a month and multiply it by 12 because that's how many months are in a year. So leave that 600 in your calculator and multiply by 12. So per year, they're spending $7,200 on insurance. Okay. Number 3, Emily says that the Moore family spends $300 more on recreation than on transportation. Is she right? So let's compare. Recreation is $500. Transportation is 6% of their budget, so we need to figure out what 6% of their budget is. So let's take our monthly income of $5,000, multiply it by 6%, and then we're going to divide by 100. So they spend $300 a month on transportation. So let's see what Emily says again. She says they spend $300 more on recreation than on transportation. So is 300 plus 300 500? Nope. If we were to find the difference, we would know the 500 they spend on recreation minus the 300 they spend on transportation is a difference of only $200. So that does not work out. So you're going to put no right there and then write out your math problem to explain that or to illustrate that. Okay, last question. The Moore's monthly income increases by $500, but the mortgage expense stays the same. Explain how to find what percent of the budget the mortgage payment would be now. Okay, so if the mortgage payment is 22% of the income, I need to know what the dollar amount is, right? So let's find the dollar amount if the mortgage payment is 22% of $5,000. So I'm going to take that $5,000. I'm going to multiply it by 22. And then divide by 100. And that tells me my mortgage payment is $1,100, right? So let's write that out to the side. $1,100. Okay, but we got a pay raise, right? Now it increased by $500 a month. So now my new income is $5,500 a month, right? And I need to know what percent 1,100 is of that. So remember, we do part over whole. So I'm going to take that 1,100, which is part of my income, divide it by the 5,500, which is my whole income, and that gives me 0.2. And I multiply it by 10, or by 100, I'm sorry, to get the percent. So now it's only 20% of my income. This is a pretty complicated question. That's something that we'd probably practice a little bit more as we get closer to the STAR. But as long as you know how to find percent of a number and figure out how to go back and forth on those, then you're good to go. Today you're going to practice variable versus fixed expenses. So once you have this glued in, then you may click next and go to your assignment for today. I did forget to say the keywords, so let's just go with one keyword for today. And your key phrase for today is trick or treat.